And see, that's where they get us. They get us because in high school, they told us, you just need to go to college. That's the only way you'll ever be worth anything. When we don't plan our life correctly, when we don't plan our careers correctly, things get a little out of control. And frankly, it takes many, many years to recoup what we lost. And in some cases, we never recoup what we lost. And the only thing we can really try to recoup is the money, because we never get the time back. I remember when I was at college, I worked during the summer, but I worked a high school job during the summer. Now you would have think I would have made the right choice, but I didn't. I made a lot of dumb choices, which is why I'm here now telling you about the dumb choices I made. I worked a high school job every summer while I was in college, so that by the time I graduated college, I had nothing to fall back on except for the high school job. And so what happens when you go to college and you don't plan very well? You have nobody helping you. You have nobody saying, hey, bro, you need to make sure that you're getting an internship and that you're working in places and you're building your resume, because that's the best situation for you to get a full-time job when you graduate. But nobody does that. Nobody does that. If you come here, if you listen to me rant for a while, you'll eventually hear that. But you always need to make sure you have a plan. Always. Now, I do get some people who do come to me and they say, hey, SP, I'm trying to figure out what my career is. I need a plan. Can you work with me? And as a career coach, I go, yeah, let's work together and we'll see if we can figure this out. Because having a plan creates success. If you don't plan anything, you'll fail. If you do plan something, you may not get the results you want, but there's no way to succeed without planning. And so you always need to plan. Now, I find this rather interesting. I have this posting on Reddit where they say, how to find post-grad software internship. Hi all, I've recently graduated with a master's in computer science and looking at the state of this market, I am planning to apply for fall internships as well along with full-time positions. Any suggestions on how to target post-grad internships? I know the chances are slim, but gotta try this. Thanks in advance. So it's kind of a funny thing. We're talking about, computer science. We're talking about the people who end up being software developers, software engineers. I can't tell you how many software engineers graduate the university with just a bachelor's that come walking right in. They don't know jack squat and they're making $80,000 a year. Not kidding. And we have actually a couple of things to unpack from this posting. They just graduated with a master's in computer science. A master's, people, master's. And so if they went to school, let's just pretend like they went to school for 4 years. They got a bachelor's and a master's in 4 years. That means that they had 3 years, really 2 good full years of opportunities to get an internship. Now, based off of this posting, what they have here, they didn't do that. They didn't pursue anything during their summers. Now maybe they worked, right? Maybe they went to school. Maybe they didn't take the summers off like most college students. Maybe they just took summer classes every year. Maybe that's what they did. Maybe that's why they couldn't get an internship. But whenever you're looking at a master's, most people who are going after a master's are doing it so they can avoid having to go into the real world. And then they end up in this situation because they were so afraid of the real world that they just kicked the can down the road and got a master's. Well, they just made their situation worse by kicking the can down the road because now they have a master's degree with no experience. The funny part about this is I know lots of people, a lot of colleges, especially universities, that have a tech program. They have a place where people work with computers and that sort of thing. Maybe not always software, but at least, working with computers, like, doing imaging and that sort of thing. And those opportunities exist just on campus. Did this person not work that type of job? Did they not look for any sort of internship while they were going to school? I mean, I got my first internship. I got an internship. I obviously didn't go to school for computer science or any IT for that matter before I became a software engineer. But I did have an internship. I had an unpaid internship where I worked about 10 hours a week. And as lame as that sounds, it looked great on the resume. It looked great. I got hired a full-time job, a contractor job that led to a full-time job. I don't know if it's because of that internship, but I could tell you it probably didn't hurt. So let's just pretend. Let's pretend this person has been out there for 4 years. In 4 years, 4 to 6 years, they could not find any internships. I bet they didn't look. No, my friends, I'm quite certain if they're posting this, they didn't look. They had no plan for success. And, you know, it's a failure of our culture. It's a failure of our institutions. They don't teach people how to do this stuff. They don't have career coaches at their universities. They don't train people properly in preparation for the rest of their lives. And so, okay, all right. I am planning to apply for fall internships. Okay, so they've graduated already and are looking for fall internships. And there's actually, you know, in all honesty, probably a pretty good chance that if they apply for fall internships, there's a good chance they'll actually get one. Because of a lot of companies that hire interns, they want to hire people who are in their senior year because then they work for them during their senior year. And then once they graduate, they hire them full time. But in this case, they would be able to hire them as an internship. And then after 3 months, decide if they want to hire them full time. I don't know. I think that's probably going to be the best way to go. I find it amazing, not surprised, but amazing of how many people in this sort of situation, they're going to start a job potentially if they had just worked one stinking internship. If they had just worked one stupid little part-time job or internship, that they would probably be walking out with an $80,000 a year job. And actually, with a master's in computer science, they still may be able to do that. But just based off of how this reads, it really reads like somebody who didn't plan, who has no idea. They may not even like computer science. They may not even like software development. It doesn't even say that. It doesn't even say that they're after software. Oh, it does say software internship, so they are. They don't say what language that they prefer. It doesn't do any of that. It's just a person with a piece of paper and with a master's piece of paper and with no experience. But what's really going on here? What's really going on here is that our society has failed this person. Society has failed to the point to where we have people who are afraid to come out to the real world. People who are getting a master's degree should have some work experience in their field prior to ever getting a master's degree. They should work in the field. They should have an internship. They should do job shadowing, something along those lines prior to ever getting a master's degree. Because this person's in computer science and they may start it, they may get their first job. They'll get a job doing some user interface stuff. They'll get into some JavaScript and they'll say, what am I doing this stuff for? I don't want to do this stuff at all. I don't know. I want to do accounting. And then they'll find out that their $160,000 of student loan debt, it's not so easy to pay when you don't have a good paying job. And this is what's really going on. Our entire education system has been set up so that people become slaves to the government. Not literal slaves, financial slaves to the government. See, if we have all these people who owe the government money, and then the government just through student loans, through interest rates, could just add interest every day, and that creates a revenue flow for the government. And so that revenue flow, when we have that adds to what the government is able to collect, and it gives them more money to spend on stupid stuff. But what it's really doing is it's draining the future of America. It's already done it. I mean, really, honestly. I mean, have you guys ever watched like Dragon Ball Z or something? You have like Cell where he pokes his little tail and people shrivel up because he sucked the life out of them. Right now in America, we are all people who are all shriveled up because we've had the life sucked out of us. And that's what student loans are doing. And they don't say that they're getting student loans, but pretty sure they're getting student loans. And so what's really happening here is that this is evidence of further decay of our education system. It's bad. It needs to be reformed. We need to make changes. We need to make sure that people are properly planning their career. Before you go to college, meet with your career coach. They'll help you figure out what you should be doing to prepare for your future. If they're a good career coach, they'll talk about what it is that you're trying to get as far as what kind of job. And once you figure out the type of job that you want, then you can figure out what kind of degree you need for that job. And see, that's where they get us. They get us because in high school, they told us, you just need to go to college at any cost because that's the only way you'll ever be worth anything. And then you go, oh yeah, I'll go to college. And you'll be like, and then you'll have your Joe Biden moment and you'll just go to college. You'll sign a little dotted line or somebody will move your hand for you. And then you got to get to a point where you go, I'm in college now. And someday within the next 4 years, I'll magically be able to figure out what I want to do for my life. And then 4 years passes. And you don't know. You don't know what you want to do. And you say, I'll get my master's. Kick that can down the road. That's what I'll do. And in 2 more years, I'll know exactly what I want. It'll come to me magically in a dream. That's the real problem. That our young people are being screwed. That by the time they graduate and they're in this situation, they're in their mid-20s, maybe even close to 30. They've missed out on the opportunity that they've had to learn and figure out what they need to do in life. They missed out. And the real problem with this is that it seems to be intentional, because we could really fix this. We can make it so people wouldn't be stuck with student loan debt in their late 20s, 30s, and into their 40s. We can make it so that didn't happen. All we have to do is allow planning to happen. We just have to provide a little education on this subject. But that doesn't happen. Why? Because someone else is getting rich off of it. That's it for today. I'm SP Graham. This is Jobferno. If you have any questions, send me an email at questions@jobferno.com. And as always, choose skills over money.